His wife gave birth to a white baby, and he left her. 3 years later, DNA revealed the unimaginable. There was a beautiful black woman named Angela who fell in love with a handsome white man named Jack. They met at a mutual friend's party, and they instantly hit it off. They talked for hours, danced the night away, and exchanged numbers before they said their goodbyes. Over the next few months, Jack and Angela started dating, and their love grew stronger with each passing day. They went on romantic dates, traveled to different places, and met each other's families. After 2 years of dating, Jack proposed to Angela, and she said yes. They had a beautiful wedding ceremony and exchanged vows in front of their friends and family. A year after their wedding, Angela got pregnant, and they were both overjoyed. They couldn't wait to start their own family and raise a child together. However, when Angela gave birth to their baby, everyone was shocked to see that the baby was white and Angela was black. Jack was stunned and confused, and he immediately accused Angela of cheating on him. He couldn't believe that their baby was white, and he refused to listen to Angela's explanation. He packed his bags and left Angela alone, thinking that she had betrayed him. Angela was devastated. She loved Jack with all of her heart, and she would never cheat on him. She was heartbroken that he didn't believe her and abandoned her when she needed him the most. She had to raise the baby alone, and it was a difficult task. But she was determined to be a good mother and give their baby all the love and care he needed. For 3 years, Angela raised her baby boy on her own. She worked hard to provide for him, and she never lost hope that Jack would come back to her someday. She missed him every day, and she wished that he would believe her and trust her. One day, Angela decided to get a DNA test to prove to Jack that he was the father of their baby. She went to a clinic, and they took a sample of their baby's DNA. A few days later, the results came back, and they were shocked. The DNA test revealed that Jack was not the biological father of their baby. Angela was stunned. She couldn't believe what she was reading. She had never cheated on Jack, and she didn't know how this was possible. She went back to the clinic and asked them to run the test again, but the results were the same. Angela was devastated. She didn't know what to do. She loved her baby with all of her heart, but she couldn't understand how he was white. She didn't know who the biological father was, and she didn't know how to tell Jack. One day, Angela decided to confront Jack and tell him the truth. She called him and asked him to meet her at a park. When Jack arrived, he was surprised to see Angela and their son. He couldn't believe how much their baby had grown, and he felt a pang of regret for leaving them. Angela took a deep breath and told Jack the truth about the DNA test. She explained that he was not the biological father of their baby, and she had never cheated on him. Jack was shocked. He couldn't believe what he was hearing, and he felt guilty for not believing Angela. Angela showed Jack the DNA test results, and he was stunned. He couldn't believe that the baby was not his, and he didn't know what to do. Angela was crying, and she begged Jack to forgive her and come back to her. She told him that she still loved him and wanted to be with him. Jack was torn. He loved Angela, but he didn't know how to react to this news. He needed time to process everything, and he asked for more time to decide. Angela understood that Jack needed time to process everything, and she didn't pressure him. She gave him space and time to think things through. She didn't want to force him to make a decision, and she hoped that he would come back to her. Days turned into weeks, and Angela didn't hear from Jack. She was worried that he had made up his mind and decided to move on without her. But one day, Jack called her and asked her to meet him for dinner. Angela was nervous, but she agreed to meet him. When they met, Jack apologized for not believing her and abandoning her. He told her that he loved her and wanted to be with her and their son. He said that he had done some soul-searching and realized that he couldn't let go of his love for her. Angela was overjoyed. She couldn't believe that Jack had come back to her. She forgave him for leaving her and promised to love him and their son forever. They hugged each other tightly, and Angela felt like everything was going to be all right. After that day, Jack moved back in with Angela and their son. They started their life together again, and it was like nothing ever happened. They were happy and in love, and they raised their son as a team. Years went by, and their son grew up to be a happy and healthy child. He didn't know about the DNA test or the doubts that his parents had. He only knew that he was loved by both parents, and that's all that mattered. One day, when their son was 12 years old, Angela decided to tell him the truth about his biological father. She sat him down and explained everything to him. She told him that he was not Jack's biological son, but it didn't change the fact that he was loved and cherished by both of his parents. Their son was shocked, but he didn't seem to care. He hugged Angela and Jack and told them that he loved them both. He said that they were his parents and that was all that mattered. Angela and Jack were relieved. They'd been worried that their son would be devastated by the news, but he had taken it in stride. They knew that they had raised him well, and he had a strong sense of family and love. Years went by, and Angela and Jack grew old together. They faced many challenges, but they never lost their love for each other. They knew that they had been through so much together, and that they were grateful for every moment that they had. One day, Angela passed away peacefully in her sleep. Jack was heartbroken, but he knew that she was in a better place. He knew that she was watching over him and their son, and he felt her love every day. After Angela's death, Jack decided to get a DNA test to find out who his son's biological father was. He wanted to know the truth and put everything to rest once and for all. He went to a clinic and gave a sample of his son's DNA. A few days later, the results came back, and they were shocking. The DNA test revealed that Jack was, in fact, the biological father of their son. He couldn't believe what he was reading. He had always thought that their son was not his, but the DNA test proved him wrong. Jack was overwhelmed with emotion. He couldn't believe that he had doubted Angela and their love. He felt guilty for leaving her and their son, and he wished he could go back in time and do things differently. But he knew that he couldn't change the past. He could only move forward and honor Angela's memory. He knew that she had loved him with all of her heart, and he was grateful for the time they had spent together. Jack shared the DNA tests with his son, and they were both shocked. Their son was confused and didn't understand how the results could be wrong. Jack explained that sometimes DNA tests can be flawed, but they had no doubt that he was their son. They hugged each other tightly, and Jack promised his son that he would always be there for him, no matter what. He knew that he had made mistakes in the past, but he was determined to make it right. In the coming years, Jack and his son grew even closer. They bonded over their shared love for Angela and their memories of her. They talked about her often and remembered all the good times they had shared as a family. Jack also started volunteering at a local charity that helped single mothers and their children. He wanted to give back to the community and honor Angela's memory by helping others. He knew that she would be proud of him. As time passed, Jack's son grew up to be a successful young man. He graduated from college and started his own business. Jack was proud of him and knew that Angela would have been too. On the day of his son's wedding, Jack felt a sense of pride and joy. He knew that his son had found someone who loved him as much as he did, and he knew that Angela would have been thrilled to see him getting married. During the wedding reception, Jack's son made a speech in which he thanked Jack for being the best father a son could ask for. He talked about how Jack had always been there for him, even when he had doubts about his paternity. He said that Jack had taught him the true meaning of love and family. Jack was moved to tears by his son's words. He hugged him tightly and told him how much he loved him. He knew that he had made mistakes in the past, but he was grateful for the second chance he'd been given. As the night wore on, Jack danced with his son's new wife and thought about how far they'd come as a family. He knew that Angela was watching over them, and he felt her love and presence in everything they did. In the end, Jack realized that love was the most important thing in life. It was stronger than doubt, stronger than fear, and stronger than anything else. He knew that he had been blessed to have loved and been loved by Angela, and he was grateful for every moment they had shared together. The discovery of their son's true paternity had been a shock, but it had also been a blessing in disguise. It had brought Jack and his son even closer together and had given them a deeper appreciation for the power of love and family. As the wedding reception drew to a close, Jack looked up at the stars and whispered a thank you to Angela. He knew that she was watching over them, and he knew that their love would continue to guide him and his family for the rest of his life.